Greetings everyone, this is your boy Sipiwe Yolambata. I'm back again with a new entrepreneur video, and this time I'm not in Johannesburg, I'm in the beautiful Nelspruit, Kanyamazane. I'm here to interview an entrepreneur who's a doctor who's doing so well. Doctor, how are you?
Great, how are you? Yeah?
I'm doing well. I hear you are doing big things in Nelspruit.
Well, we are doing our best the time we have.
Nice, doctor. Can you please introduce yourself to the viewers? Who are you?
I'm Gina Mavuso. I am a general practitioner. I was born in a place called Oskral in former Botswana. That's where I did my primary and secondary. I did high school in Central Secondary School in Soshanguve.
Pretoria?
Yes, Pretoria.
This is going to be an interesting story. Okay?
Yes, one of my classmates up to matric was DJ Sbu, by the way.
Wow, DJ Sbu was your classmate?
Yes, he was boarding there from Tembisa to Soshanguve. Yeah, so I then went to do my tertiary at Medunsa. I qualified 1999, and then I came to work here in Nelspruit in a hospital called Temba Hospital in Gapokweni, where I met my wife. I landed there 13 December 1999, and then I worked there.
I think I know the hospital. Is it the big hospital in Ngodini?
Yes, that one.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
That one, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I worked there until 2007. And then that's when I resigned end of 2007. And then I bought this practice. It existed from 94, by the way.
Wow.
So I then took it over from January 2008, and then we did what we did with it thus far.
Wow, and it's a beautiful facility. You've done a great job, doctor.
It is. I think the fortunate part of it is that it's one of the practices that was designed from the scratch as a practice. You know, most practices that you see, it's houses that are converted into practices. So I was fortunate that my predecessor, Dr. Madula, got a site and built it from scratch as a practice. And that's why it's able to offer what it's able to offer. But it is something that went a journey of its own. And then back in 2019, and then the Lord placed in me that we need to start taking care of the street guys who are on Nyaupe. And
wow.
Start a outpatient rehab center where we get them off the drug and let them go back to society as useful members of society.
Wow.
So that we have done. We have had 2 graduations for those guys. We are about to have a 3rd graduation for another cohort in June before we went on lockdown. So there was a group that was ready. The date was set for I think it was for the 19th of June. So unfortunately we went on hard lockdown after that. So we have a group that is ripe, that is ready to graduate, and then that took over. And
then can I ask, is it something that you do inside here in the center?
Yes. What we do, what we looked at was that the rehab centers are providing what they can provide, and the limitation of the rehab centers is that whilst they work with the user, the user doesn't develop resistance in terms of the temptation to use whilst it's under walls. So ours, we call a meeting with the parents and the user, and then we tell them that, well, this is what we do. We give you the tablets as a startup, we write your prescription, you get the medication, on which you have to be for about 3 months.
Wow.
And then from there, it's about 3 bottles because it's about 500 mils, 1 bottle. And then we give you a program as to what to follow, how much you give, when, and then it gets finished, and then we observe the guy for any side effects that are developing, and we monitor them, and then when we think they're fine, we celebrate that as a graduation. We make a graduation for them, and then luckily the local media comes and cover the event, and they are happy to be recognized as members of society again. And yeah, they do well. We open for anybody and everybody that can come through here. I mean, we have
for the program where you are helping.
Yes, for the outpatients rehab. So we rehab you whilst you stay at home. So you come on a weekly basis, twice or so a week. We test, but you stay at home wherever you come from, wherever you know where they are selling these things. So that's how we test the resistance from that time you start to the time you graduate, and then from there, after graduation, we monitor them for 6 months. From there, then we let them go and see what they do. But we are happy that there are guys who were once addicts, now they are working, now they're looking after their families. And that's the kind of work we proud ourselves with, because we do it for free. So that's one of the projects that we felt we should do as a give back to society.
And then can I ask, Doctor, so what inspired you to, because I mean, you are running a great, medical center. You could have, ended there, but you decided to also do like a rehab center to assist, people who are addicted to drugs. What led you to do that?
Look, it was a spiritual thing. There was a time when we had the global assembly of our church in Chile. It was February, I think, 2019. And I saw how different missionaries were doing work with the unreached people of God. And the Holy Spirit then imparted in me that for me, I don't have to move and go to any other country. There are people right there at my doorstep
in South Africa.
I can assist.
Yes.
And I put it before my pastor that, no, this is what has been planted on me, that we should use the church to have them gather and call them and start it there. And my wife joined me. And now we've been running since 2019. Every second weekend we're calling them, because prior to the COVID, we were meeting in our small hall there and get everybody. But now, because of COVID, we have to meet outside where the space is adequate and only see them per family, to do the contracting and instructing on how to do the thing. So it's the impartation of the Holy Spirit. It's not something that I thought of, that I imagined. It came there. It was born there. And then I then went to a taxi rank there to see where they're smoking, and I interviewed the users. And I'm happy one of the lady that I've interviewed now has gotten a job. She's completely different from what she was. And then it gives us joy that the work of the Lord, we can see it whilst we are here.
Amen. You are doing a fantastic thing. Here I am thinking that I'm just going to be interviewing you about your medical center, but you've shared something which it's very, very important. Because wow, Doctor, I'm inspired. And I'm sure what you've said is also going to inspire other medical practitioners.
It is my desire. Before you travel the road, there are a lot of things, a lot of fears. But once you travel it and you get the results, I tried to share it with the doctors. There were a few doctors who were ready in Witbank, in KZN to start, even if they were to make people pay. Unfortunately, those services are not available. So that even if you have to pay, there are many addicts and they're getting younger and younger. I mean, we had school kids at about 18 who started when they were 12. So those kind of horrible things that you see, and once you start, and especially for ladies, they then live a life that is completely horrible, horrifying, lack of dignity, because they have to sell their bodies to get the drug. So it is my intention to make it easy for doctors. I provided them with the stationery and the support that, no, look, you can start. It looks scary, but you can start. And it doesn't have to interfere with your practice, because the way we're running it, I'm physically involved in the first meeting where we call the parents, tell them what the program is about.
Yes.
Then what we intend doing with it, and the fact that they are the custodians of the program because they take my place. You know, in other areas or in other countries, you can't give the medication to the parents to take home. You know, the patients have to come to the center and get a dose every day, wherever they are from drive-through. But here we are a low socioeconomic country. I mean, it's to have it money to travel to the practice every day.
It's costly.
So if we can then trust the parents that they'll be able to give it the way they're supposed to give it, then we are happy we can cover a number of people at the short time, because there's a guy that we've hired to specifically do the testing.
Yes.
And we went through the testing, how he responds to the test. Anyone that is suspicious, it's given to me. Those are the ones that I get to see. So I continue to run the practice as I do. Those with side effects, I see. So I would know that the activity is taking place. I see them coming to test, go home, coming to test, then go home, and then we just check the number. If we have more than 30 that are already completed, then we get them to graduate. We were fortunate to get a social worker that was volunteering to be able to work on the mental side of things and the home environment, because you know, if you start to get in these things of abusing drugs,
yes, doctor,
your mental age stands there. If you start abusing drugs when you are 17, 10 years later, you are 27, but your emotional age is still 17. You still throw tantrums if you don't get things your way. You cannot handle disappointment. So they have to be taught that in the world we live in, there are disappointments, and we go through that. And people get conflict with one another. It doesn't mean that if I'm angry with you, I have to now get drunk. You know, with time, we think better and we can come and relate without anything having happened. So those are the things that you have to reteach them. They have to relearn that, you know, as a human beings, there are bumps on the way. There are days that you'll be happy. There are days that you'll be sad. But it's not a big deal. Everybody goes through that. So we have to teach them to be that. And most of them are grateful. Of course, we have some who will be tempted, who will go back to their friends and go back, yes. But with ours, we give you one warning. If you fail from one warning, the second time you come testing positive, without any attempt of you doing better, the only one that we negotiate is the one who will test positive, say in the first week of visit, and the third month maybe is tempted, then we can talk. But if you come positive this week, next week positive, then there's nothing that we can talk, because some of them want to stop, or at least tell the parents that they want to stop, only because they've run off of ways of getting their money. And that's the problem. Those we can only see once we put them on the program, whether they are indeed intending to stop or not. So that's one of the things. But the important thing that we tell them is that, look, here at the center, we are not stopping people from abusing Nyaup and rock.
Yes, doctor.
Here we are only helping those who have decided to get out.
To stop living drugs.
Yes, because if they have not decided to do that, it's difficult to control. You cannot run around them, because you don't need their parents to bring them for testing. They have to come on their own accord, and they have to stay stopped, because from the first day they take the treatment, the push factors are gone. This craving is gone. The pull factors is gone. The push factors is actually the withdrawals. Yes. And the pull factors are the cravings. They are gone. So they feel nothing. They feel like they smoke when they've not smoked. And then with time, the receptors, regresses. And by the time we finish 3 months, they don't have a desire to do it anymore. And they're fine. So we do get them out. And we are happy with those that are staying out. And we use them to motivate even the new groups that are coming, that, no, look, here's the guy. Is now 2 years free, and then it's possible. He was once like you. So we show them their pictures, that here he was him before he started, here his picture now. It's light and day. So it's marvelous. It's good to be involved in that, and everybody sees the work of God whilst you're here on earth. That is marvelous.
Amen. No, doctor, you are doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing job, doctor. And I'm sure a lot of people watching, they're going to be inspired, by what you've said. So can I ask, doctor, when you started your medical center, did you have funding?
When I took it over, I tried to look for funding at the banks. I may not mention the bank, but they wanted a lot of things, because at the time I was a superintendent at the hospital. So a call just came to me from one of the workers here that, no, look, the doctor we had just absconded and decided to open a practice. And I thought, no, this is a center I have worked here before, and I will take it over. I'll talk to the owner. I spoke to the owner and said, look, I'm willing to continue the work, but this time I wouldn't want to work for you. I want to buy it.
Yes.
And then he gave me the price, and then I went to look for funding. They said I must get this and that, get projections, blah, blah, and I couldn't get that. And I renegotiated with the owner that, look, this is what they want. And he was very generous. I'm still grateful to him even to this day, because he had gone back to academia. He was now a lecturer. So he said to me, look, this is the amount you pay rent. Of this amount to escalate in 10%, calculate what you pay. As soon as it reaches the amount that we agree on, then the business is yours. Then that's how I got it. Then it was God's hand there. That's how I got it. So I worked. I was able to make the amount that he requires and be able to live.
You were able to pay him off.
Yes. Yeah. And then we had paid him, and then that was, I think, 4 years after we started. Instead of 5 years, we did that in 4 years, and yes, the practice now is ours.
What's amazing is that you've shown us that it's not always about, okay, you need funding. There's always also other ways.
Yes, there are other ways.
You know, but what inspired you, Doctor? Because I'm sure, you know, many people, when they want to start a business or when entrepreneurs want to start something and there's no funding, they want to give up. But what inspired you to go that route? And
look, me, I was actually inspired by frustration. You know, when the routes are closed.
Yes.
You must look on the other ones.
Yes.
Because at the time, it was a time when we had much fewer doctors. And as I said, I was the superintendent, and the doctors that were on the ground had to perform more overtime. And it was a problem with approval at her office for them to do that overtime. And I would be left with blanks on the roster to fill and keep on begging doctors, and they can't be paid. And when this opened, I said, no, look, I'm going there.
Yes.
Whatever challenges that are there, God will see me through. And it did work wonders, because at the time I was staying at a government house. So I wanted a cheaper dwelling, and the lady who came from but house selling agency told me that, look, we have a big family. I think this house is the one that is good for you. And we went for it.
Wow.
At that time, I wasn't going to be able to afford it, because I barely afforded it because I had a salary and my wife was working. And without that, I wasn't going to afford it. But then they took it with it, and then we got it. And then I worked, and I was able to raise the money to pay for it. And the house we live in is still the house that we got at that time.
Wow.
And all that, we thank the Lord that, you know, He paved the way. There's things that we couldn't see into completion, but He just finished them. He just guided us, and then we went through.
Yes. Doctor, before we close, I would like to ask you this.
Yeah.
You said you grew up, you studied in Soshanguve,
Yes.
in Pretoria.
Yes.
Many people, they choose to settle in Johannesburg, you know, because, I mean, that's like, you know, the land of milk and honey for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you chose to settle in Nelspruit. Can I ask why Nelspruit?
Look, factors would be the following. All right. First, I didn't quite qualify to be at Medunsa, except that I had good results. So I had a grandfather who was my mom's uncle, who their family just closed and they got their severance package. It was that luck that happened at the time that I was able to get a 1.5 to register there. Now, whilst I was in Medunsa,
yes,
I got sponsored by Mpumalanga government.
Can I say, is Medunsa in Nelspruit?
No, it's in Garankuwa. It's in
Garankuwa.
Yeah, it's in Gauteng.
Okay.
So basically, also the fact that my surname, actually I'm a Swati, but you know, I had to, because I grew up in Soshanguve, I had to learn Sotho and other languages. So my language base is here. So when we chose, I had to be in Mpumalanga.
Yes.
And then I was happy to learn amongst the people that at least connected to my language that I didn't hear from birth, and I was quite settled. I'm happy here. And then I met my wife because she was a student nurse then. And then we were both happy to settle here.
You settle here. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and
So this is showing that even other places in the country are great.
Yes, they are. We are happy to settle here.
It's not only Gauteng, which is there.
No. Actually, a number of things go down when you come here. Suddenly your insurance goes down, you know, and the level of crime goes down as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's nice.
It's very
nice.
peaceful.
Yes.
Doctor, one more question. So, with regards to this medical center,
Yes.
I hear that you are running it with your wife.
Yes.
And I would also like to interview your wife.
Yes.
And then that's going to be in part 2 of this interview. But
Yes.
before we close this interview, Doctor, I would like to know about your upbringing. Did you come from a family that...
Look, I was brought up by a great woman, Esther Mavuso. Her name, they call her Ses Makoti, grew up knowing it Makoti.
Yes.
She is or retired now, retired domestic worker. She raised the 3 of us, and she was alone.
Sure.
I'm the one in the middle. My brother was born in 1973. I was 75. The young boy is 77. Unfortunately, my brother passed on 95. Well, he was robbed of a cell phone and he was shot. In 95? 2005. Yeah, 2005.
Yes.
I was working at the time. And yeah, so I was left with the 2, it's me and my younger brother. But as I'm saying that, strong Christian values, I believed all my life. Even Sbu will tell you that I wanted to be a doctor. He told them that I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I believed so much, but it was impossible. My mom told me that I need to go to the army because her bosses are saying that I have to go through the army, and through the ranks there, I may end up being that because I didn't qualify to get the registration. At that time, she was earning $500 per month. And when I got luckily I was able to apply only in one institution because they needed the registration fee, and it was lesser at Medunsa. At the time it was, I think, 150, and I got accepted there. And when the results came out, I was able to drive through a taxi there and tell them, look, my name is there, so I'm starting. Sure. And what was not there until the very last weekend, it was the money to register, because you couldn't do anything. There was no NFSAS that would help you before you had to register and look for funding whilst you are in. So that's the miracle that I said happened when I started in the beginning, that my mom's uncle, their company closed in Joburg. And then he's the one who was able to borrow me and my mom that money. I remember the day she came, the Sunday after, she had to put in the pantyhose because she had to be on a train. It was around her 1,500. That was the first time she saw so much money. Sure. And then I got to register. Once I registered, I told myself that I have to excel. I will attract bursaries whilst I'm there. And indeed I did. And there was also a wonderful sponsor that I got from Wendy Ackermans, who is, I think, the wife of the owner of Pick and Pay. Due to the results, they added some money on me. Wanted a student loan. I couldn't get it on first year, but second year Standard Bank gave me a student loan, and then I was happy to then go and pay back that money that we had borrowed. Sure. And then I think when I was doing my 5th year, I got surprised that Mpumalanga government want to pay for me and take all the costs, and then from there the rest, my path was determined that I have to end up here.
Sure. You know, Doctor, I was asking you that question because you're doing so well, and when someone looks at you now, you are this successful, they don't know your story. Yeah. So I wanted you to share that about your upbringing.
Look, I started I started buying my own clothes when I was 13 because my mom couldn't afford that. I was doing gardens. I did gardens at Roslyn. When the schools were closed, I think I was doing grade 8 now. I was working. Sure. I was a dagger boy. I knew how to joint December. I used to work at the produce market in Pretoria. what we were doing, we were offloading watermelons overnight, and then they would sell them the following day. Offload them overnight, they sell them the following day. So I did that, and I think I remember also when I was short of money to buy some clothes. I think I was doing fourth year or third year.
Yes.
I had to go and look for work in December. I worked at Technical in Pretoria as a gardener when I was on my fourth year. So I used to go there on
Fourth year
train.
of university, but you were doing gardening as well.
Yes, I couldn't find any ways of making money. There's a friend of mine who told me that no, you can go to exams and do the editions for the teachers and together. I couldn't break it through, so I had to go there and work garden as a student doctor there in Pretoria. There, trimming grass, cutting trees, and do all sorts of things. So you're true. It's true that it's easy to believe that everything just came naturally. But I know how to be humble. I still believe that I'm still humble even at this stage. I know how to relate with anybody at any level. I come from very, 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 very much at the bottom. Like I'm saying that we're raised by a single mom. At some stage, many stages of our lives, we were staying with different people because she was sleeping in. She started to sleep out when we moved to Soshanguve, because at around 91, 92, when I was 16, I think, we moved to Soshanguve. And then she requested, that's when she had her own house. At that time, we were living in Kreni's house. So when she lived in her own house, then she had to go to work and sleep at home. So that's when we started living with her. And as a teenager, that's when I had to start calling her mom, because at the time I was calling her sister, because I didn't know that she was my mom. I had to be taught that this is your mother. The one you're calling your mom is not your mom, actually somebody else's mom. So I learned, it was a bit embarrassing, but it got natural, and I'm calling her mom comfortably.
Yes.
I never thought, but I knew that my father was alive somewhere. I never thought to look for my father. I was happy at early stage of my life. I knew I had a father in heaven. Never ever have I traveled like I see people traveling up and down looking for their fathers. I never did that.
Yes.
I learned, well, because things get to you, that my biological father died in 2012, but I never went on a voyage to look for him. Really, I'm comfortable with the family that raised me. I'm comfortable with the provision that God has done throughout my life. Actually, I'm amazed. I think I'm very lucky and fortunate that His grace has been upon me all Amen. This time of my life. If I were to be another person, I would say I wouldn't qualify. I wouldn't be where I am if He didn't prepare the ways that He opened for me at the right time.
Sure, Doctor. Your story is very inspiring. Because I also come from a Christian family, so I'm a Christian as well. Wonderful. So, Doctor, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're a very busy person, and I know you have to, do some work now. I'm also going to interview your wife now. Doctor, your story is very inspiring. You're not just running a medical center, but you're also helping people who are drug addicts, which is amazing. And from you grew up with nothing, but now you've achieved great things. So, Doctor, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Doctor, in closing, is there something you'd like to say, maybe to people out there who maybe have given up, or maybe they want to start something but they don't have funding, or is there something you'd like to say in closing?
The only thing that I can say is that I don't want people to lose faith in education. To me, I grew up being told that it's the key to success. And it is the only key that brought me where I am, because I now notice that people don't take it serious. They don't want to finish. They think going through politics is the better way, because you can get a blings and do this, and all through dishonest means. I wish people can just spend time with their books, master your work. It's going to open doors for you, because it's only your results of metric that are important as to where can you go. And if you look at me, like I'm saying that as I was growing up and studying, there was no possibility financially for me to qualify to be at any tertiary institution. But I had the education, I had the qualification, I had the key. That which I was supposed to do, I did.
Doctor, you are definitely right, that education is the key to success, because with education, it does not matter your background.
It's equalized.
I love what you said, that metric is the key that gets you anywhere in life. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be inspired just by those words. Doctor, thank you so much. I wish I could stay longer, but I know you are very busy because your story is very inspiring and it's very, very educational as well. From me, your boy, Sipiwe Yolambata. Tona sekasi bafethu all the way Kanyamazane in Nelspruit, Baba. Tona sekasi fikile bafethu. Don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos from Favor Media. Your boy, Sipiwe Yolambata. Izo, thank you so much, Doctor.
You're welcome.